Moving forward, problem-solving strategies in general. So we have what's known as trial and error, algorithms, heuristics, and so we're going to go through and define each one of these. So as we know, whenever we're trying to solve a problem, sometimes the best way to engage in that problem is to just go through trial and error. Try something until it sticks. And at least whenever you go through the process, when you try it and you fail, you're at least learning what not to do until you do. We also have algorithms. Now, we hear about algorithms in our day-to-day life that are, online that give us or recommend particular videos to us and things like that, particular ads. But what an algorithm is at its baseline, it's just a step-by-step problem-solving formula. So whenever these software engineers, computer scientists go in and they are wanting to serve you best and try and get you the videos that you want, that the algorithm isn't just a video serving hub. What it is, they are creating a step-by-step problem-solving formula so it can navigate what you would prefer to see versus not see. And so an algorithm has been written in a lot of entertainment outlets to be able to serve you best. Heuristics. Heuristics are general problem-solving frameworks. So we all have heard of, quite simply, shortcuts, ways to navigate things a little bit easier, get the same result, and not have to go through all the same steps that we would in the long-form framework. We also have rules of thumb. We have working backwards. So some of us like to solve problems by seeing the problem first and then maybe working backwards from there. Can help a lot of people out. As well, something that helps with memory in general is breaking large tasks into a series of smaller steps. So maybe not trying to digest a big piece of writing all at once. Maybe we should break this down sentence by sentence, or maybe a few sentences or a paragraph at a time. Okay? Moving forward, so let's talk about some pitfalls to problem solving, or one in particular. Now, if you're like me, you probably suffer from what's known as functional fixedness. This is some people's inability to see things for being utilized for more or for anything other than what they were intentionally supposed to be used for. So as you can see to the right in figure A, you'll see some matches, you'll see a box of thumbtacks as well as a candle. Now, if I were to ask you, hey, what I want you to do with those three items is mount that candle on a wall and light it. Now, if you struggle with difficulty in doing so, you'd probably think like, well, I don't have an adequate, candle holder. How am I supposed to, do that? I mean, I have matches and I can light the candle, and I've got some thumbtacks, but I don't have a holder. Well, somebody who can think outside of the box, who is more creative, what they would do is they use the box that the thumbtacks came in and then place the candle in it so it would stand up. Now, I don't know about you, but in figure B, that holder doesn't look too stable, but maybe you can navigate a way. Maybe that's just, again, my functional fixedness kicking in. Maybe you'd be able to navigate it in a way to where you can hold that candle a little bit better with that box. Configure that box in a way that makes it stand up and not have the potential to fall over and, I guess, catch your house on fire. But if you're like me and you didn't exactly see that problem-solving outlet initially, you may be like me and suffering from functional fixedness. And as the famous Albert Einstein once said, a very big, important quote to remember for the rest of your life: insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Amen to that. We've got biases. Now, biases are items in our lives that can influence our decision making as well as our argumentation without us really even knowing. They're kind of an unconscious process where we don't really realize that we're engaging in them until we're made known of the fact. So let's go through a few of these biases so you can navigate these in the future and take a pause for yourself and say, hey, am I engaging in a bias here that can distort my ability to reason in this moment? Anchoring bias. Anchoring bias is our tendency to focus on one piece of information whenever we make a decision or solve a problem. You see people constantly do this where they'll see something that they initially discovered when researching into a topic, or they sift through a lot of information and they find that one piece of evidence that supports their claims, and so they stick to it like an anchor in a water. It keeps them in place. They do not sway from it. But as we all know, most things in life cannot be simplified into support of only one piece of information whenever you make a decision or solve a problem. A lot of things have a lot of gray area, and there can be argumentation or debate for a lot of topics in our world. So usually most things cannot be as simplistic as using one piece of information. You have to branch out and gather more to support your claims, at least adequately. When it comes to confirmation bias, we all have at least heard of this once. Confirmation bias is our tendency to focus on information that only confirms your existing beliefs and sway away from information that tends to go against your beliefs. Because our beliefs are important to us, we usually get to our belief points from adequate thought effort and a lot of time considering the topic. And so you shouldn't be very easily swayed from your beliefs, at least initially. But something that can influence our tendency to stay in one place is because of confirmation bias. Whenever we come to that belief system, we like to keep it that way. We get personal about it. And so whenever something goes against, or we see information that goes against what we believe in, it causes agitation, and it may just redirect us to go seek out information that continues to confirm it. Hindsight bias. Hindsight bias is whenever you thought something was predictable even though it wasn't. So for example, I experienced this in the stock market. Now at the time of recording this is 2023, and the stock market took a huge hit. Absolutely huge. And whenever I first got into the stock market, it was 2021. And if you ever look back on how the market was in 21, I mean, you could have literally been throwing money at anything in the market and you would have made money. It was an insane time for the stock market. Now, me being a novice trader and somebody who was just beginning, I thought that I was just a genius when it comes to the market. But again, it was just a flourishing market at the time. And so I would look into things into different stocks, and I would see different pieces of evidence, probably not adequate in a normal market to be looking at. And I was like, I'll put my money here. It would go up, I'd sell, and I'm like, I'm a genius. I've got, an ability to navigate this market. How could, whatever the case is. I was way overconfident than I should have been. And I thought all of this stuff was way easily predictable, even though it wasn't. Because it doesn't matter who you are as far as a stockbroker. You don't know whether the market's going to go up or down, things like that. So I got a rude awakening whenever our market took a huge hit at the beginning of 2022. And it was 2022. And toward about June, the market had officially gone down about 20%. I'd lost a ton of money, and gas was like close to, at least in East Tennessee, it was close to $5, I think, at one point. I mean, it was just insanity. And so nothing is predictable when it comes to the stock market and whenever it comes to the market and the economy, but we can fall victim to that hindsight bias pretty frequently whenever we think things are predictable, even though they're not. When it comes to the representative bias, this is our tendency to unintentionally stereotype someone or something. The availability heuristic, the tendency to make a decision based on an example, information, or recent experience that is readily available to you, even though it may not be the best example to inform your decision. Now, sports analysts fall victim to this a lot. Sports is really a what have you done lately for me type of occupation, and analysts tend to, I've noticed this, they tend to base a lot of their opinions on athletes as to what they've done recently rather than their career as an overall. especially for people who are still currently playing. And so they're making their decisions just based on what's most available or what's most recently happened to this person. And this is just a bias that a lot of us fall victim to in a variety of ways, but I just see it so commonly happening in sports.